about to adjourn, about to convene. First, we have the Pledge of Allegiance with all veterans and military personnel render the proper salute. And Mr. Duncan, would you lead us? Roll call, Ms. Jenkins, please.
Here.
Here.
Present. Here. Here. Here.
Here. Present. All right, the item C on the agenda, discuss the case of Joyce M. Moore, Eastern District of Louisiana, and consider recommendations of lead settlement and negotiation counsel, Gideon Carter and Ashley Bass, whichever one of you wants to come forth, or both of you, to speak. Mr. Carter or is Ashley here? Is she coming or are you going to speak?
She's here.
See if she's in there. I've seen her. Okay. You can come address the board.
Why don't you read the input?
I forgot. Let me read the public input thing first. The Tangipahoa Parish School Board welcomes comments from the citizens of Tangipahoa Parish, both for the purpose of evaluating the job that we're doing in educating our students and for the purpose of identifying problems or inequities within the school system. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school board operations and programs, but the board will not hear complaints about individual school personnel or other persons at a public session. Other channels provide for board consideration of complaints involving individuals, and in particular, these concerns should be addressed through the grievance procedure by handling the complaints. The board's grievance procedure provides a mechanism for which these matters can come before the board if the grievance procedure did not resolve the concern of the citizens. If you wish to speak in public input, please complete the public input form and present it to the board secretary prior to the beginning of the board meeting. Public input requests will not be accepted after the meeting begins. And it looks like we have two that we'll address in just a bit. We have two public inputs. All right.
Did we do roll call?
We did roll call.
This man was looking for a form, and I helped him find it, so I think he...
All right.
Yeah,
It's okay. Let him.
Accept it.
Yeah, that's fine. Give it to Miss Jenkins. That's fine. And then she'll bring it to me.
Speak into the microphone. All right.
It doesn't sound like it's on. We can't hear you.
it's on.
You just have to talk into
I've
it.
not been accused of being a soft talker. All right, can you hear me now?
A little bit.
All right. So I'm Ashley Bass, the attorney for the school system, and this is my colleague Gideon Carter, and we are the lead settlement and negotiation counsel in the desegregation case. He is here on behalf of the class, and I am on behalf of the school system. And we are, I know you're going to present a resolution regarding a motion that we're going to file, hopefully, a joint motion. Gideon and I, along with Charles Potan, have been working on this for, about 9 months.
Well, you say 9 months, I'm going to say for several years.
Yeah.
Because I re-enrolled in this case back in 2013 for the purpose of attempting to bring it to a conclusion. So I've been working for that purpose since at least mid-2014, but very intensively doing so for the past several months, and we finally come to what we believe is a resolution that will benefit the entire community and the school system going forward.
And we have been, this case, of course, we know has been going on for a long, long time. And this is not the work of Gideon and I. This is the work of so many people, but we're just thankful that we're here today, and we do think we have a great plan for the system and for the children of Tangipahoa Parish, which is what this is all about. So with that, I don't know if you have any questions, I guess we could have questions. And I do want to make clear, and I think Gideon will too, that we worked on this together for months, and it's a product of not me and not him, but us together.
And Ashley will tell you, I'm not an easy person to work with.
Would it help to go through the process of the last couple of weeks and what brought us to this decision today and how this has been laid out to the public and to the board members?
The last couple of weeks, there have been drafts and redrafts and drafts and redrafts, and we've gone back and forth on some edits that I thought were necessary, and we've come to some resolution on those edits, and for the most part, I won. And so this is where we are today. We have what we believe is a final agreement that's going to benefit the system and the community going forward from today.
So, as the board knows, y'all had, I guess a few weeks ago, all had a chance to look at the draft that we had at that time. Since then, we have gone back and forth over some changes and that Gideon requested and that were put in there. And so that's how this has transpired. After much gnashing of teeth by both sides, on Monday, we got what we believe is the best agreement, and that's how we got here today. This was not a quick thing by any stretch. This was well thought out, presented to the board. I know Gideon has presented it to his people several times. So-
Ashley, would you be able to get closer to the mic?
Yes.
We can't hear you. So I
It's
know
hard
the
to hear in
audience
the back,
can't hear
too.
you. We can hear
Okay.
Mr. Gideon, but we can't hear you.
So this has been something we've been working on, and we talked to the board members about it. Ms. Stilley's been very involved. All a part of the strategic plan that y'all have all signed off on is in this agreement. It addresses all of the factors, the green factors, and it has items in there that you're already doing, which are beneficial to all of our students, and that we're just going to keep on going with what we're doing and doing the right thing. That's how this came about.
One more thing. The advisory committee,
Yes.
could you give us a report on that?
Yes. I have a written email from Mr. Tom Anderson and Arlene Gayran, who are the co-chairs for our Citizens Advisory Committee, to the Tangipahoa Parish School System Superintendent on the desegregation case. And they met yesterday at Southeastern Louisiana University in Dr. Crane's conference area to consider the final agreement. A quorum was present, and after considerable discussion, our committee unanimously voted to approve that you, as superintendent, present the final agreement to the school board with our urgent plea for the board to give a unanimous approval of the final agreement, and it's sincerely Tom Anderson and Arlene Knighton, which are co-chairs of the committee, and committee members, District Attorney Scott Perilou, Dr. Kingsley Garrison, Dr. John Crane, Ms. Zeta Ard, Ms. Lil Miranda, and Mr. Matt McCraney.
Thank you.
Can I comment on that?
Yes.
That meeting yesterday, Arlene Gayran.
Into the mic, please.
I don't know what's wrong. Arlene Gayran, Arlene Knighton, spoke at that meeting as she is the co-chair, and she really has studied this agreement and gave us a very good, her opinion on this, and went through it and thought it's even better than what we have now, better for all students and better for the class. So I was not surprised that we had a unanimous vote.
All right. Thank you very much. No other questions? All right. Mr. Duncan?
At this time, I'll present and read into the record the resolution that our council has recommended that we adopt in favor of this final agreement. I believe we can also put it up on the screen, and there were some additional copies. It says the resolution to enter into a final agreement in the matter of Moore versus Tangipahoa Parish School Board. Whereas a desegregation case was instituted in 1965 by two plaintiffs, both of whom were black parents seeking, on behalf of their several black children, to end the racially discriminatory operation of separate schools for black and white children in Tangipahoa Parish school system. And whereas pursuant to an injunction entered by the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Louisiana on August the 12th, 1967, the Tangipahoa Parish School Board was ordered to dismantle the dual system and begin operations under injunction which prohibited discrimination on the basis of race in the provision of educational services to the students attending schools operated by the Tangipahoa Parish School Board. And whereas in the years since this case was filed, the Tangipahoa Parish School Board has continued to operate under a series of court orders emanating from and amending the original desegregation order. And whereas for a substantial period of time this case was dormant with no action being taken, and whereas in 2007 a motion for a status conference was filed on behalf of the plaintiffs, and from that point forward the Honorable Judge Ivan L.R. Lamel has presided over the litigation. Whereas on March the 4th, 2010, an order in the nature of a superseding order was signed by Judge Lamel, document number 876, designed upon implementation by the school board in good faith to result in a unitary school district and relinquishment of judicial supervision. Whereas to justify dismissal of this case, the Tangipahoa Parish School Board must demonstrate that it has met the proper legal standards to be declared unitary in all areas of operation. The Tangipahoa Parish School Board must show that it has eliminated to the extent practicable any remaining vestiges of the past dual system and has met the unitary standards for at least 3 years in each of the 6 areas of operation, commonly referred to as the green factors. 1, extracurricular activities. 2, transportation. 3, physical facilities. 4, faculty assignment. 5, staff assignment. And 6, student assignment. Once the court determines that the facts reveal no continued racial discrimination and the school board's good faith to maintain such non-discriminatory practices, it may declare the subject area unitary. Whereas the court granted unitary status to the board in the area of transportation on August 5th, 2010. Whereas the court granted unitary status to the board in the area of extracurricular activities on December the 2nd, 2011. Whereas since 2010, the board has proposed and implemented, with the court's approval, numerous strategies to improve student diversity in its various campuses. And whereas the board's efforts to improve student diversity at its schools have resulted in our schools going from having only 2,311 students in desegregated schools, 11.8% in 2007, to having 12,234, or 64% of our students in desegregated schools as of October the 1st, 2018. Whereas the Tangipahoa Parish School Board is committed to the operation of this school system without toleration of the racial discrimination of the past. Whereas it is the intention of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board, through its administration, to continue to work diligently to provide each student in the system with an educational environment that meets the legal requirements for unitary status as guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution. Whereas it is the desire of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board to not merely promise our continued operation of an equitable system, but to demonstrate our ability and commitment to such operations through the implementation of each and every element of a final agreement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the duly elected members of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board approve and adopts the attached final agreement that has been negotiated and proposed by lead settlement councils of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board and plaintiffs. Be it further resolved that Settlement Council for the Tangipahoa Parish School Board is directed to take each and every step necessary, together with Settlement Council for the plaintiffs, to file the final agreement and related documents with the court, and to take such other actions as may be necessary to gain court approval of the final agreement.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion, please, to accept the resolution to enter into this final agreement in the matter of Moore versus Tangipahoa Parish School System.
All right, a second by,
And second.
second by Mr. Duncan. Objection? All right, then we have public input. Mr. Charles Terry?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me first start by saying that as you look at your resolution, that's my first problem with this entire thing. I thought we were in agreement that we were seeking compliance with what the judge has ordered, going back to Judge Rubin. A resolution means that you come to an agreement to leave certain things out in order to make a compromise. It starts off also saying about the two families, two black families. That would be Mr. M.C. Moore, his family, and many of those children are still living. That would also be Mr. Henry Smith, and many of those children are still living. But neither family has been contacted about this resolution. So how can you have an agreement without the original plaintiffs? Mr. Nelson Taylor has been working on this case since the early 70s. Where is he? Where is his involvement? As far as I know, as a member of the Moore family, Mr. Taylor has always been the counsel for this case. And school board and superintendent, you admit on page 2 in the second paragraph that you're only 64% desegregated. Now, when I was in school, 64% means an F. So you're admitting that you're failing. You can look at the schools across the parish. You have not completed the job. Why do you seek pay for a job that you haven't finished? Kenwood High, still 90% black. Greenville Park, Leadership Academy, still 90% black. O.W. Dillon, and I can keep going. You have the numbers. You have not done the job. Go back, do some work, roll up your sleeves, and get this thing right. The taxpayers can't be here because you called a meeting at 2:30 on a Thursday. How much public input do you expect to get? Or was that your plan, to make sure that you don't get public input? New attorneys have been in place. No one has signed saying that these new attorneys are their representatives. We are here today to let you know that this resolution and your efforts have failed. Granted, the magnet program, the IB program, has done wonders for the Hammond District. But you still have a lot of areas that you need to work on. Let's get it right for all children, not just for the smart and the elite children, even the C students. Let's make sure that everybody can get an equal education. And that's not what's happening across the parish. Take time and go into schools and find out why our students can be on our honor rolls with a B, take an ACT test, and flunk. They can't score high enough to get into Southeastern, our local university. What does that tell you? They have to go into developmental classes. The program at Southeastern that had to start was Connect to Success. Why? Because the students cannot, our high school graduates cannot score high enough on the ACT. They can't get into Southeastern. So you have to make a developmental program in order for them to make it. The problem is not after graduation, it's before graduation. Let's stop being reactive and start being proactive. We had to wait all these years to get Mr. Perry to be principal at the alternative school before all students at the alternative school would start receiving their work that they missed when they would have been in the regular schools. This is ridiculous. We don't need high-paid lawyers to tell us how to educate our children. If we, the community and this entity that's been working on this for 54 years, how many of you would wait 54 years for a contractor to finish your house? And then he tells you he want to get paid and the roof is not finished. You would not pay him. You would not recommend him to anyone. We should not be at this point of writing a resolution. We should be working to better educate our children. I'm going to tell you this story and I'm going to my seat. The late M.C. Moore, after they had shot in his house on July the 4th, 1965, there were several calls made. Miss Willie Mae Moore crawled almost 10 acres to get to a phone to call the police. The police never arrived. Another phone call came in the next day. A local priest called and said, Mr. Moore, you don't have to keep putting your family through this. Bring your children to the Catholic school and we will educate all of your children. Mr. Moore thanked the priest, but he told him, I'm not doing this just for my children. I'm doing it for all children in Tangipahoa Parish. That's the mindset we need. All children in Tangipahoa Parish and not just the elite children of Tangipahoa Parish.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. All right, the next person, Amy Brumfield.
Good afternoon. Okay. First of all, I would like to say I didn't think today would come anytime soon, so I'm thankful for that. And I thank Ms. Bass and Mr. Carter for their diligence and their dedication to bringing a resolution to this desegregation case that we've all been dealing with for many, many years. And I appreciate everyone's input because I know with a new board, you had to come up to speed and then you had to provide your thoughts on the situation as well. So I appreciate everyone coming together to come to a resolution that not everyone's going to like because, as we know in this world, you can't please everybody. And it is about negotiation. It is about give and take. And we've come miles from where we were. So I do appreciate it. I'm thankful this day has come. And I still believe what our parish president says. We live in the greatest parish in the greatest state. And this is a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Polita.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. We've been dealing with this case for 54 years. I'm sure this plan is not perfect, but I think it's workable. We could continue paying the attorneys, continue this case. We're not going to get anywhere. This is a workable plan. We have to get from under this DSEG case to move this system forward, to move this parish forward. Nothing's perfect. If you're going to sit here and say it is, you're mistaken. But I want to commend Ms. Stilly and this board for their common sense approach in trying to settle this case. That's what the judge told us years ago. Come to the table, settle it. I'm asking y'all to pass this resolution, send it to the judge for his approval, and if there's any flaws in it, that could be worked out at a later date. But we had to take this step today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jenkins, roll call vote.
Motion to accept the resolution presented. Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Dominguez?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Toler?
Yes.
Ms. Abrams?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Ms. Richards?
Abstain.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. That ends the meeting.
All right.
Good.